don't say anything about where the shooter at. All right, this is
Oh my gosh. We are recording at the moment. Good heavens. Okay. So, we are talking about today, how do you find the exact value of trig functions of any angle that's not on the circle? Okay. This is pretty easy. Okay.
You plug it into the calculator.
Nope, it's gotta be exact value.
This is gonna be on the quiz.
Okay. Okay, so we're talking about finding exact values of trig functions that are not on the circle. So up until this point, we've been able to say, hey, if it says exact value, that means I have to use the circle. That's not true anymore. Okay, it's not on the circle. But you'll be able to tell. You'll be able to tell because you'll be like, this isn't on the circle. Okay. I need you to find page 1 of your thing here. Okay. You're going to use that. We don't need it immediately. We're going to use that in just a second. Yeah, thank you.
I would have to if I wanted flat.
I'll tell you. Just wait a minute. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the math behind one of these, and then I'm going to give you the formula. So it says find the sine, then there's a scribble there. Find the sine for the angle whose terminal side passes through the point 3,4. Your notes, write whatever you want. Would I? Probably. So if you were to make a picture of this, we're now talking about something, the coordinate point 3,4. There's no 4s on our big circle. So this is something that's not on the circle, but we're finding the exact value, which you didn't write. Sorry. So if I were to draw this, the point 3,4 would be up here. So we're looking at this. No. Thank you for randomly shouting out numbers. That's 4. So what we're looking at is we would like the sine of this angle. So the first thing that you need to know is that when we're doing this, really, we don't need to know this. You don't need to know this. But the angle is formed with the horizontal. So if you're like, hey, I don't want to know the formulas that Miss Douglas is going to teach me, you should, but whatever. We always make our angle with horizontal. So if we were over in the other quadrant, the angle is still being made with the horizontal. But this is a triangle.
That is a triangle.
Okay. What's the length of this adjacent side on the bottom?
33.
Yep. What's the length of the pink side? 4. Okay, because that's the coordinate point 4. And so, Connor, what's the hypotenuse?
That's 5.
There's the 5.
3, 4, 5. I was talking about.
Because it's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Now we can find the sine because we have all our sides. So what is the sine?
4. No, you gotta do the inverse.
No, you don't have to do the inverse.
Oh, you don't?
It's opposite. Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Okay, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. So you're done, and that's the exact value because there it is. It's a fraction.
With the guess, mind you. I said 53 degrees, and it is 53.1.
Great.
Good job, Gracie.
We don't need to know that.
I don't care.
Okay.
Oh wait, we're just.
I said
I get it.
So what you're looking at here is if you're given an X and a Y, if you are given,
I'm trying to learn.
Javon, don't touch people. If you're given an X and a Y, you can find the hypotenuse. Those are the sides of your triangle. You can find this. Why? Every time I open my freaking mouth, it sounds like a man because the back row can't quit talking. Okay? Listen, you're given X and Y, which are the sides of your triangle. If you didn't know it was 5, how do you have to find it? Okay, if you didn't know this was 5.
They were saying it's not a triple.
Yeah, what if it was not a triple? How do you find it? You would use Pythagorean theorem. So if you look over here on the bottom of page 1 of your knowledge folder, it says trigonometric ratios in the coordinate plane. Okay? This is absolutely based on any coordinate point X and Y. Okay? So if you have this, then the sine is going to be, I'm not sure I'm going to give you this right. Sine is going to be Y over R. And it's R because Connor said radius. That's radius. Right? Cosine. Earlier you said, oh, it's the radius.
I did not say that.
Okay.
I said that.
Oh my gosh, because you said all the things. Okay. Right, so it's pretty much a good guess. So sine is Y over R, cosine is X over R, and tangent is Y over X. Cosecant
R over Y.
is R over Y. Secant is R over X, and cotangent is X over Y. Those are just reciprocals. But this makes it easy. Just gives you formulas so that anytime I give you a coordinate point and say find the whatever, you can. Okay, so let me give you a couple examples. So let's say find the exact value. That just means no decimals, right? Exact value, no decimals. Of the secant theta for the angle whose terminal side. This is how it has to be worded because you're talking about the end of the angle. Passes through the point -7, negative. Well, let's go -5, -12. That's a 5. -5, -12. Okay, so secant involves R because secant is R over X. So you got to find the R, which is the formula that's at the top of that little section. So R is equal to the square root of X squared plus Y squared. Okay. You have to use parentheses or else ditch the negatives when you're calculating this. Okay. Because that's probably the most common mistake as people screw up the negatives there. There's no imaginary numbers. This R is always positive. Yep. So R is 13. And so then you can find the secant really easily. What's the secant going to be then?
13, -13,
Yep. 13 over -5. You can write as -13 over 5. But both are fine. So what we're doing is avoiding drawing a graph, drawing the triangle, and doing all the things. It's that math is hidden in there. It's just different. Okay, so let's do one more of those. I don't feel like we need to do a lot of them because they're not hard.
Like, you add two numbers together, you get a fraction.
What?
Or you get like a decimal.
No decimal.
No. But if you,
Like when you do this,
yeah.
gotta leave it as a square root. Okay, so same deal. We're looking for exact value. I'm not writing out all of the words this time. Let's go sine of theta, blah, 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 through the point, negative 914.
Ew.
Okay, so this is this should answer Grayson's question. Like, we don't get you get a decimal. If you put that formula in your calculator, you get a decimal. So you got to get rid of the square root and see what happens. Because you cannot have decimals. These have to be exact values. So you're going to have to do negative 9 squared plus 14 squared without the square root on your calculator. Okay. So should get that the r is the square root of 277. That does not simplify. Okay, you could try to simplify it, but it's not divisible by 2, 3, 5. I don't think it's divisible by 7. It's not.
Wait, would we have to simplify it if it did simplify?
Yep. Okay. So sine is going to be y, which is 14 over square root of 277. And then you have to rationalize. Square root of 277, square root 277. So sine.
Oh, we gotta rationalize it.
Oh my gosh, yes. 277 over 277. There's your final answer. Ugly. Okay, let's do one more of those. We'll see if I can come up with one that let's go cosecant theta through the point 2 negative 10. Mm-hmm. Bless you. Okay, what does r equal? Square root of what?
104.
Square root of 104. So 104, you guys, you have to check and see if this simplifies, which it does. Divisible by 2, which is 52. That's divisible by 2, which is 26, which is divisible by 2, which is 13, which is the prime number. Okay, so remember that you're looking for these two. That's 2 squared. This is 26. So this is 2 squared times 26, and you're doing the square root of that. Okay, square root of 2 squared is what? This is just a 2. So this is 2 square root of 26. That is your value of r. Okay, so now we're looking for sine. Nope, sorry, looking for cosecant. Cosecant is r over y. Okay, that does reduce. You can reduce that. What is it? Yeah, square root of 26, but yeah. These guys reduce right here. Right? 2 over 10. 2 over 10. Totally too hard. No, we're not done. Okay, so this is one way that you will have to do that, where you're given the coordinate point. So another way, okay, so it looks a little bit different here. So you're doing a little bit of decomposing this, okay? So it's still related to the formulas. So if I have sine, what two pieces do I have? I have y and I have r. Yep, cosine and cotangent. Okay, I have y. What is y? -2. And I have r, which is 3. Now, when this is negative, this is super important. When this is negative, that r is never negative. Okay, the r itself is never negative because you're squaring both of those numbers. Okay, you can write it on the bottom. I can write it the r with a negative. It doesn't matter, but the r itself is never negative. It's only x or y that will be negative. Okay, now the question is, what is this crap? Okay, why do I care about if tangent is positive? If you combine this information right here, it will tell you what quadrant theta is in. Okay, which matters. So look at your circle. You need it just to look at it. You're not going to use it. But what quadrant is sine negative and tangent positive?
I don't know. One of them.
The third one. Quadrant 3 has negative sine and tangent is positive. So all that we need to know is this is in quadrant 3. And we'll come back to that at the end. Okay, quadrant 3. If I'm going to find cosine and cotangent, I have to have x. Okay, so you've got a formula on your paper to find that relates x, y, and r. So r is 3. We don't know what x is. And y is -2. Okay, how do you solve for x? What's the first thing you do? I heard that. What do you do? Yeah, you square both sides. You got to get rid of the square root. Okay, so you have 3 squared, which is 9, equals x squared plus -2 squared is 4. Now what? So we got x squared is equal to 5. So x is equal to what? Square root of 5. Okay, now what's the cosine? Cosine is x, which is square root of 5, over r, which is 3. Cotangent is x square root of 5 over y, which is -2. And you're done.
So how come we need to know what quadrant?
We're not done. I lied. So in quadrant 3, what you just have to do is check at the end to see if you have correct values of the signs, not SINE. So this is the final step. Are the signs, SIGNs, correct? Okay, so if we're in quadrant 3, the cosine should be positive or negative. Look at quadrant 3. Negative, so make them negative. If we are in quadrant 3, the cotangent should be Positive. Cotangent is positive because tangent is positive. So all you're doing with this inequality business and finding the quadrant is at the end, you go in and change the signs so that they are appropriate for the quadrant. Okay, now that was a lot of information, so let's do that again. So let's say it is too cold. Okay, here we go. So first thing I would do is figure out what quadrant we're talking about. Okay, that's all that you need the inequality for, so don't freak out when you see it. Like, it's not, you don't have to do anything with it other than figure out what quadrant we're doing. No. Okay, so cosine is positive. Cosine is positive. What's true about tangent?
Oh, it's
Okay.
4.
So I do believe that is 4. So positive cosine, negative tangent. This is quadrant 4. If you want to start right now and just be like, oh, so my cosecant in quadrant 4 should be what? Positive or negative? Negative, because cosecant is the reciprocal of sine, right? On the circle. On the circle, you should have these things on it. Okay, so the cosecant should be negative. So now you don't have to worry about the quadrant at all. Okay, cosecant is negative. Let me just remind you why. Cosecant is the reciprocal of sine. Sine is negative. Therefore, cosecant is negative. Okay, now, if I need cosecant, flip the paper over, I need r, which I don't have, and I lied. What do I have? Cosine. I have x, and I have r. And I need y. Okay, so use that formula. R equals square root x squared plus y squared. Okay, you guys go ahead and find y.
This seems just like a lot of checking. Why is this weird?
Is the square root of 65.
Probably. Yeah.
What?
Sounds about right. Square root of 9.
It's not the square root of 9 for sure. So it's going to be 9 equals square root 4 squared plus y squared. First up, square both sides. So
Yeah, so it, okay.
16 plus y squared. That's 65, yeah? That's what I heard. And then square root that. Square root of 65, I don't think reduces. Well, it's not nice, but 80 square root of 65. 65 is divisible by 5, but it's 5 times 13. So it doesn't simplify. Okay, so there's your y. And then cosecant is r over y. So cosecant is r, which is 9, over y, which is 65. And go back to what we determined, it has to be negative. Okay, and rationalize. Yep. So negative 9 square root of 65 over 65. Okay, let's try it. We're going to try one more, and then if we feel okay, then I'll give you homework. Let's say tangent is Too easy. Okay. There you go.
Yay.
Okay, so first question, what quadrant is this in?
2.
It's in quadrant 2. Tangent is negative, cosine less than 0, that means it's negative. So that's quadrant 2, that's where cosine and tangent are both negative. So in that quadrant, the sign needs to be what? Sign has got to be positive at the end. Okay, now you can forget all about that and do the math normal. This is y and this is x. So then r is equal to square root 8 squared plus 17 squared. It's not, doesn't reduce. What is square root of what? Yeah, 353. Okay, so then we are looking for sine. Sine is y over r. So sine is going to be 8 over square root of 353. It's positive. So even if you were like, hey, negative 8, yeah, well, it's got to be positive. So just don't worry about it. Square root 353, square root 353. So final answer, 8 square roots of 353 divided by 353. There you go. Okay. There's 2 things I want to talk about, but I'm not like, we don't have to do full examples on these. 2 things. First of all, what if you came up with sine of theta is equal to 0.3 and you're trying to do this? What are you going to do?
No, I didn't.
Right idea, but it's not 1/3. 3 over 10. 3 over 10. Okay. So if it's not a fraction, oh my gosh, 3 over 10. If it's not a fraction, turn them into a fraction so that you have your y's and your r's and all that business. Okay. The other thing you'll have is actually easier. People don't like it, but it's easier than this. It might say something like, hey, find sine of theta, which is 0.3, and then it will just give you this weirdo inequality. Yeah. Okay.
Yo.
So listen, what this is telling you, this is another way, this is actually giving you what quadrant it's in.
Less than 90.
So, no, not less than 90.
It's 2, greater than 90.
And less than 1/8, and less than pi. So what quadrant?
2.
This quadrant 2, you're correct. So quadrant 2 goes from pi over 2 to pi. So that's, you know what quadrant it is. So you'll see this in your homework. It's just taking some of that logic out for you because you just have to read the thing. So how about this quadrant? What's this one? Thanks.
3. It's 4.
It's quadrant 4 because it ends at 2 pi, right? 3 pi over 2 to 2 pi. So quadrant 4. So when you see these, this is just another way of them telling you the quadrant. So don't weird out on it.
I like that one more.
It's a little bit less thinking.
Yeah, that's fun.
I know. Okay. So listen, these four here, 23 through 26 are real fast. There's no math involved, no work involved. These ones have work.
That's what you think.
Because it's about determining what quadrant it is, and it's important.
Because the quiz isn't going to be so fun.
Oh, I have the paper for the quiz too. I'll get that for you.